Yeah, so welcome to this first pilot episode, to the pilot episode of the Be Right Back podcast. First of the Filmmaker originals that you'll see here, whatever on this channel. And with me is a good friend. Friend, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm possibly a Rose. Phil will probably refer to me as Rose or Ori at varying times, and I encourage all of you to do the same. I am a chronically inactive. I guess you could call me a YouTuber and streamer. And the last time I was active, I did a lot of just random clips of things in Destiny 2 that I thought were really funny, and admittedly, they really were. Um,
Well,
so that's me.
that actually brings us on to our the first thing is I realized the thing the other day, Rose, that it's roughly 5 years since we've known each other.
God damn, that's not okay. That's like, wow, that's too much time, actually.
And
Holy shit.
normally like this would be a great place to start with like our origin story, but the problem is we don't have anything impressive for that. You made a post on Destiny
I,
LFG, and I joined.
I was like, hey, I was looking for comp players, and then we spent like fucking like 5 hours in a box with Terminator, just like desperately trying to get not forgotten.
Yeah, that was and then and then I think ultimately I have a feeling that I guess you could call it a silver lining of the lockdown was is that we ended up spending so much time talking.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But yeah, so that was definitely Destiny 2 days, boy. Everything. And so we've wanted to try, we've attempted many a time since then to get things going, but life just gets in the way.
It really does, yeah.
It's ultimately the challenge of course, being oceans away.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to something you were talking about as we were setting up. You were looking for like, you get housekeepers.
So not normally, right? It's just kind of been an interesting time recently since like this last year. We did, I mean, I guess we only moved into the house that we're in like a year ago, and because of the way in which that all happened, we're still not quite finished moving in. So sometimes we get quite busy, and my mother spent like a week trying to find some housekeepers, and then the ones that we got were like laughably, hysterically incompetent.
Oh,
Right. Yeah, so it took them, like, 3 or 4 hours like, past the point at which they were supposed to be there to get here. Um, I don't remember why, but I remember the reason was, like, flimsier than tissue paper.
I mean, you've basically. First of all, I never had housekeepers before, so I was about to ask if you were rich for a second there.
No, we are not. We just really just needed a fucking break, and the house wasn't going to clean itself, so
Well, you see, you've just sort of described any service in Britain is that the joke here is that are you looking for a plumber, electrician, or any other service that will do a good job at a reasonable price in a timely manner? You've got no fucking chance.
yeah. It's just like, it would be okay if, like, maybe, like, one thing about the way that it went was, like, anything close to, like, worth paying them, but, like, they didn't clean the whole house, it took them forever, and also, apparently, they managed to eat my headphone co or not my headphone cord, but my microphone cord, which, I mean, I can only assume that they actually ate it because I cannot fucking find it, I don't know where it went. So thusly, I can only come to the conclusion that one of them put it in their mouth, chewed, and swallowed.
You'll find it in like the back of the freezer in like 6 months' time in the ice.
Yeah. Well, like, fucking the circus will be completely destroyed by then, but, I mean, I
Yes.
will find it. I will find it.
And yeah, well, speaking of free stuff, so do you want to know a weird thing that I've started noticing?
What's the weird thing that you've noticed,
Well,
Phil?
put it this way: if I was if I was like on the fence about believing if I was living in a simulation or not, this would be the event that might convince me.
Oh my god, what fucking happened? Are you good?
Well, right. So, when I say cocktail sausages, do you know what I mean?
Cocktail sausages? I don't think
Okay,
so.
so basically they're mini sausages. You can eat them cold, right? But they're like an inch big, like about the size of a basic USB stick.
That seems why are they so small?
Well, they're kind of like finger food, so you would serve them at like birthday parties and stuff for children.
Oh.
Right? They're like bite-sized nibble things. Anyway, but so but we get them in the family here as snacks because members of the family we have to be a bit more strict with some of our diet, so we have to cut out carbs, and they're a good low carb option. And so every week we buy a pack of 70 of these things just to snack on throughout the week. And I have this problem that I've started to notice, that every time I go to grab a handful of these things, it's always an odd number. Every time, without fail.
Oh my god, that would drive me up the wall.
And I don't know what to do about this. Like I've
See,
tried
actually,
I've tried like actively like trying to see how many I can fit in my hand in one go. It's an odd number. I've looked away and stuck my hand in and do it. It's an odd number. I've switched hands. It's an odd number.
see, I actually do a similar thing with like little pretzel sticks. I have a similar situation, um, where like for some reason for me it's always an even number. It's always a multiple of 3.
Yeah. Well, for me, I always get
It's
them in
always
like
like
fives
6
or
or
sevens or
12.
whatever.
It's always like 6 or 12 or like something like that. It's never 3 or 4 or not. No, it's always like 6 or 12,
For
and
me, it's like
I don't
yeah.
know why.
Well, for me, it's like fives or sevens or whatever. And yeah, it's like
Someone
if
just
I
forgot to program in like the variance,
mm,
the number value to set it 0.
yeah. So that was the thing. Is uh, yeah. That's one of the sort of things. I don't know if it's just because I've been more than a little unemployed, and so I just sort of start to notice things that normally you wouldn't.
Oh my god.
And it's just like again, it's like if I was crazy, I'd be like, you could typically say it's like, yeah, this is proof that we're living in a simulation. They've only programmed odd numbers. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just the issue is that like I don't know. I feel like this has to be like I wonder if this is like a widespread thing. Like, do people like is this something people deal with like on the regs? Like, what are we talking here?
look, if I was more famous, I'd put out a poll on Twitter and see what the
Ah,
response
yes,
is.
Twitter, the famously reliable source.
But that's also not the only food-related thing I've discovered.
Oh,
I have also discovered that the superior form of pizza is a victimless scam.
what do you mean by a victimless? What does that fucking mean, Phil?
So it's
What does that mean?
no, I swear I'm not crazy.
See, 99% of crazy people usually say something like, "I swear I'm not crazy." So you can see how maybe I might be disinclined to believe you on this one.
But here is the thing, right? So the scam, the reason why it's a victimless scam is because no one actually gets hurt, right? But the scam
Huh?
is Square Pizza.
Square. Okay, so what about Square Pizza is a scam, and let alone a victimless one? What are we
Well,
talking here?
because
Like,
you
what
think
is
about
that?
you like
What do you mean by that?
okay, so look, and do you know what? If this conversation goes on, I might for the next episode at some point try and track down a square pizza and a circle pizza, measure them, and prove the point.
Oh my god. Okay, this
Is
is getting more unhinged by the minute.
is so you order pizza and you order it in a size, right? And so they have
Mhm.
roughly, you know, you need the X amount of all the ingredients to make a 12-inch or a 10-inch or whatever. And you get the circle pizza, and it's there, nicely made. But of course, it doesn't take up the full total area of the inside of the pizza box. Whereas if you order a square pizza, it does. But because they're the same size pizza in the same size box, they use almost certainly the same amount of ingredients.
Okay.
But because they make it into a square and it takes up more of the surface area and thus can be cut into more slices, you feel like you've had better value for money, even though you've actually just bought the same amount of pizza as the person who ordered the circle pizza. This is the psychological
Okay, this is
scam of
very,
our
this is very,
age.
this is very complicated. This is very complicated.
No,
Um,
it's like
I
a
mean, that's
placebo effect because it takes up the surface area, so it looks like there's more. But in terms of like volume,
I mean,
it's
I
still
guess
the
that
same.
I don't know if that's intentional or not, like, that's the thing, like, I could see it being intentional, but I could also see it not being intentional, I guess. I mean, I know the assumption is, like, in any given scenario, if it's something that requires the company to, like, it put less effort to get more reward, then the answer is probably that it's intentional, but, like, it it's still, like, up in the for a case like this, I think it's still, like, up in the air, you know?
Well, like I said, the real test then, and you know how I vaguely mentioned at some point I might start making vlog-esque videos. That might be the
Indeed.
first one, and I realize, yeah, I'm not going to escape the mad artist label that I've given myself anytime soon, because it would be a
No, I
vlog, and instead of me being like all cringy, like, oh, "Hey guys, welcome to the vlog," it'll be right. Okay, we've got a square
never
pizza
do
and a
that, Phil.
circle pizza.
No, stop. Never, never again. Do not. No, I will throw you through my fucking window. I swear to. No, you can't do that. Oh my
That's
god,
my cringy white girl voice.
that was awful. Holy shit.
But it will be me, and instead of that, I'd be like, okay, so here's the two pizzas. We've got the square, we've got the circle, both from the same shop, and here's a tape measure. And again, I'll be there, be like, okay, and so the box is, this many centimeters square. We've got this and this, and then I'll work it out and I'll prove it.
All I can say, Phil, is that I believe in you. Thumbs up emoji.
Great, great. So yeah, that's my discovery with with pizza, and I came to this. I don't know how I came to this conclusion actually. Like this is the thing is sometimes I can just be sitting there, and I'll just randomly put two things together. Like that's also I don't know. I hope you do watch, but if you ever watch go and watch the Stardew Valley stuff I do with Ratty, most of those cheap puns and dumb jokes that I make in that series are just realizations like that. Like so just for one example, like it's a shame that Mexico doesn't make golf their national sport and have a tournament
I'm
be-
sorry. Okay, why so?
because they could call it the Gulf of Mexico.
That's terrible. Like, that's a war crime. I think that's actually, like, listed in the Geneva Convention. Like, I'm pretty sure it's actually in there.
But this is what like again, I think this must be like a symptom of of like chronic unemployment is that like I have nothing better because it's like I've got nothing better to do, so I'm sitting around waiting to hear back from applications. And it's like you know, and you just have like, oh, what if you did this?
Phil, I think just in general about this, what I think is that this is fucking diabolical, actually.
Diabolical.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Like, just in gen I'm pretty sure that's diabolical, yeah.
Hmm. I mean, again, I do just think of these things.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah, and and yet I'm the sanest one out of the people I know.
Are you
Which
implying that I'm less sane than you, Phil?
no, well, yeah, no, well, again, you and I are the
Actually,
two most.
I'm pretty sure that is, like, objectively what that statement implies.
Well, yeah, I said that, and then I realized that the people I know is not a very wide net. There's because yeah, so yeah, so that's sort of like the thing that has been racking my brain, and I was prepared, like with the cocktail sausage story, I was prepared to do like a whole metaphor story for it as well, but I decided not to for the sake of your sanity. I was going to go a thing about rolling a dice every morning.
I okay. Huh? What? What?
Basically, what I was going to lead up to it was I was going to ask is, do you think it would be weird if every day, at the same time every day, or roughly, you got a dice and you rolled the dice, and every time it landed on an odd number, each and every single time, and you started to notice it, and you started
Yeah,
to freak out.
that would probably drive me insane.
Yeah,
Like, I think
so
that would be like, the last straw for
so
me.
you get rid of that dice and you replace it with another one, and still it was an odd number. So you then so you then take it outside, you throw it up in the air, and you let it hit the ground, still an odd number. So you get rid of that D6 dice, and you replace it with like a D20 from D&D, and it was still an odd number. That was what I was going to say had been happening to me with cocktail sausages.
Wow, that's really fucking insane. I'm gonna pull out like a D20 real fast. I'm just gonna roll it like and see if let's see if we get an odd number. Hold up. That's off the table. That is a 9. God damn it. That
It's
is a 9.
real.
That is a 9.
Oh,
Hold on. I if you want to include this in the video, I'm gonna take a picture of the dice and send it over
yeah.
to you.
Put it in the podcast text and links.
Will do.
Mm. Yeah, but I'm actually now, I'm going, yep, there it is.
There's the 9.
I am also going
Odd
to
fucking number.
send you a thing I want you to have a listen to, because it's another thing that occurred to me. So, and it only occurred to me because at one point in Halo Infinite, they had like the first ever like proper PvE mode since Warzone. It wasn't much. It was like big team battle, but there was one of the campaign bosses was stationary, and your team had to defeat them first. But I got glimpses of its like you could hear some of its voice lines, and as soon as I find it, I'm going to send it to you, a clip of it to you, and all I want you to answer. So when you get the clip, skip to 3 minutes 10.
Okay.
Just for the voice lines. And I want to know, is to your ears, is that what I sound like to you?
I can't! That's an insane question to ask! Holy shit! You do not sound like that. I mean, number one, you don't sound like like an incensed like gnome, like in a
But not like
5e
the
game.
robots, but like the way he talks, he's like, explosives in my installation.
No, I mean, you don't sound like a pissed off like gnome shopkeeper, like just in general. That's not really your thing.
I am going to file that description under the category of oddly specific.
Yeah, you know, there's a gnome shopkeeper that I was planning for in a segment of the campaign that I'm running, so it just was in my brain, and his like voice kind of sounds like that one, so I was like, nah, close enough.
Well, speaking of D&D, because one thing I don't know if you the way I met Ratty was I met Ratty through D&D. And
Okay,
I got invited to that D&D group by Primer. who I still talk to. He is around. He just can't get internet in his house for some reason. But I've got him on WhatsApp.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's how I met Ratty. But so I was there playing. I had done this whole sort of like weird sort of gag thing where I was. I'm gonna see if I can actually find the image that I was using. I bet you I can't because it's been so long. So I basically first time. Oh, you okay there?
Yeah. My teeth been getting louder as I've gotten older. It's an affliction.
I think that's just normal. But yeah, I was using this. Yeah, I can't find it, but I was using this image. I was playing a rogue for first ever campaign, which some might say is ballsy.
I don't know. Rogue is a pretty simple class to play. It just has a reputation. I mean, okay, so that's okay. Some rogues are pretty simple to play. Like you can play like an assassin rogue really easily. You just like sneak up on someone, and then you roll the big, and then you just do the big number. I mean, that it doesn't really take much more than that for those cases.
But anyway, so I was playing this rogue, but the image I picked from the internet, you couldn't tell what race he was because like his face was covered in stuff. And I based his like backstory a bit off of the Reapers from XCOM 2, and basically, quick summary of them: alien invasion, humans lose. They're a group that sort of live out in the wild, and they look like rogues, but they have sniper rifles. But they started. One of the ways they started to survive was by eating the aliens. And so I had this thing that he was this sort of rogue assassin kind of guy that part of their culture was that they would eat like their kills.
Okay.
And so
unhinged.
Yes. And so basically
quite unhinged.
Yeah, and so basically like after every battle we would like my character would go up and try and carve up any meat from the kills.
Jesus. Okay.
And the best one of it was we'd actually defeated a boss. It was called Princess, but it was like this big gorilla thing.
And the gorilla was named Princess?
Yes.
That's great. That's fantastic. Yeah. I love that.
But we killed it, and we cut up the meat. We took it back to the tavern, and I remember like asking like the cook or whatever, or the tavern keeper, if he could cook this meat, this exotic meat that he'd never seen before. And when asked what it was, I just told him it's dead.
Oh my god! What? Yeah. What is it? Dead.
But
awesome.
here's the thing.
Didn't answer my question, but thanks for telling me that. I know.
That's only part one of the humor of this.
Okay.
Because sadly, I think we never got to finish this campaign. I'm not entirely sure what happened. Some people, I think, it just whatever. But for the record, when I was role playing, he sort of sounded like this. This was his voice. Scary.
That's oh my god. That
yeah.
Okay. That that's definitely rogue vibes right there.
But here was the thing. The joke was.
What, does he have like a throat condition? Is it a throat problem or something?
No, even dumber than that. Was because they also, when they looked at the thing, they couldn't tell if my character was human or elf or whatever, because just the image just gave nothing away. So this sort of mini arc was trying to figure out what race is he.
What is this creature following us around?
Yeah, and especially considering that on a ship after eating some weird fish, threw up orange goo and breathed fire off the side of the boat.
So Dragonborn then?
No, that was a side effect of eating whatever it was that I'd eaten.
Oh.
The joke was, and sadly I never got to do the reveal, and it probably wasn't worth it. This is probably the most effort I've gone through for like a 5-second joke. Was that eventually it was going to reveal that actually that voice was just an act, and he was actually the super shy, like, like like really like stereotypical femboy like character.
Oh my god, that's incredible. Um,
And like I said, it probably totally not worth it for like in the long run, but
honestly, yeah, no, not worth, not worth, but very. This is what we refer to, I think, as a like in the business as a high effort shit post.
yeah. And it's one of those things where it also made me realize that maybe that's kind of the reason why like customization in video games very rarely has like when it comes to body types more than just masculine and feminine. Because like if and don't get me wrong, it would be very cool if more games like if like body types were you could pick like a tall, chubby, short, skinny, whatever. But at the same time, I then got thinking the reason why they don't do that, is because it would turn most deep moments in video games into memes. Because
Yeah, probably.
think about it. Take Destiny 2. Imagine if you could make like a really effeminate guy with the
Well,
voice and
I don't,
everything. Well,
I don't
hear
know.
me out.
I
But
mean, the voice is just a matter of like there's not enough money to voice a bunch of different voices for like the
yeah,
player
yeah.
character. Although to
Hmm,
be fair, Destiny's player character barely says anything, so there probably would be significantly more than enough money to do that.
hmm. But again, just imagine you could make like a proper like stereotypical femboy guardian, right?
Okay, okay.
Now picture the bit in Forsaken after you bring Cade's body back, and
No, yeah,
and
okay,
Savannah's like, I refuse to bury any more friends, and then the Guardian's like, you won't have to. Ultra Sav is mine. You see what I mean? You couldn't take it seriously.
Oh, I think also this wouldn't really make sense for the plot of the for the story at that point, like especially
No.
given the Forsaken is the only piece of content that I would ever other than I guess like Haunted that I would say has a just general traumatic vibe.
Although I did actually get the final shape this month. That's like my one thing I can get myself this month. And spoilers if you haven't played the final shape already. But at the end where you defeat the witness, and there's that cut scene where Ghost dies.
And then doesn't die. Yeah,
Yeah,
that one.
but I also realized, like watching that bit when he's like, "Bring him back. He's just a ghost." That was like, how in the Red War getting our powers back was like just shy of asking nicely.
Yeah.
That final cutscene in the final shape was like, if that ball had rolled like another couple inches down the court, it would have been, please bring him back. He's just a little guy.
Honestly, yeah. I just like that moment is I really enjoy that moment because like I mean obviously more than just like the associations I have of that moment with like my player guardian, but also just like the it's the most emotion we've ever seen the player guardian show
Yeah.
ever. And predictably the male guardian voice does a terrible job of it.
Yeah, well,
But
again,
the femme guardian voice is pretty good.
mm, but yeah, and again, I also did that cutscene with my helmet on, but yeah, so it still
Oh yeah,
works.
I had mine off. I usually have mine off for cutscenes, but I think a lot of cutscenes in Final Shape are significantly worse when your guardian has their helmet on.
Mm. I, mine just says the helmet on pretty much all the time,
Yeah.
but it still proves though that the whole uh, Paramount's Halo thing is complete and utter bollocks with the whole Chief not wearing his helmet.
Yeah.
Did you ever
I think
actually
the
see the full series?
no, I never even watched any of it. I just couldn't be fucking bothered to. I don't
Oh,
care enough about Halo to watch a show that I know is bad.
yeah. I watched it just out of morbid curiosity, and it's like it was just like
I
it.
see. You
My
may have less of a self-preservation instinct than I do in that case, because I don't know if I could put myself through that
well,
knowing that
look,
the
look.
way
When
it
you
is.
have when you get bouts of insomnia, like I sometimes do, suddenly binge watching crap telly. Uh,
Fair.
gets very easy. But the thing about it that was like more other than bad, the vibe I got was it was just weird.
Yeah,
Like,
a lot like, I don't there's a lot of decisions that were made about it that I just don't really understand.
well, yeah, partly the
There's
some of the
plenty of
storytelling
stories from the
elements.
Halo that you could have adapted. Like,
Yeah,
they didn't need to come up with their own timeline, they just wanted to.
to be honest, the only like real good thing about everyone that agrees is the universally good thing about it is that the helmets that the two female Spartans wear are pretty cool.
That is not the kind of thing that you want to have the only positive thing about your show be considered. Like,
Mm.
that's not you generally want something more substantial than these 2 helmets look pretty good.
They brought him into the game, but yeah, well, the other reason why it was weird, particularly in the first season, was half the locations they went to just looked out of place. Like the desert planet looked more like something out of Star Wars, and then this other place that which I think is in the books, but the way they sort of portrayed it was called the Rubble. It looked more like it would be at home in Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the issue of, like, Halo, like, is a dark series, and I don't mean in tone, I mean in color palette. Like, when you look at the way that the games are drawn and look, they're not brightly lit games. They're not games that have a ton of neon lights everywhere. Like, especially Reach and 3 and 1. Like, they're
Mm.
very, very,
Well,
like, colorfully dark games,
well,
and
I
I
mean
think
that.
adapting it to, like, a bright lights camera action, like, live action that's part of the problem with making live action Halo. I don't think that it can't be done well, but I think that they didn't really even try to do it
Well,
well.
they actively didn't look at the games. But when I say
There's a fucking problem.
like when I say looking out of place, not so much because of the lighting, but just because of like the style of locations. Like they had like these whole like industrial like waste disposal things, and these sort of space stations where you connect, which were connected by cable cars in space.
Um,
And it's like, okay, if you had told me this was Warhammer 40,000, I'd have believed you because
this
they
is one of
have.
those things that's, like, about Warhammer that's, like, just incredibly absurd and, like, things like that happening in Warhammer is, like, it would make sense in Warhammer because a lot of Warhammer is just about the fact that the world is completely unhinged and that it
Oh
really
yeah,
shouldn't be taken seriously.
yeah,
Um,
it's over exaggerated, hyper violent 80s action.
yeah. I mean,
But
that's part of why I don't really like 40K because that's just not really my that's not really my scene, but, like, with 40K, like, it knows that about itself and it embraces that part about itself.
hmm, I
Halo
mean,
is not is not that kind of story or world or game. That's not what Halo is.
hmm. But again, the thing about 40K is like it really does try to lean into the grim dark rather than like not just dark themes, but like it turns it up to 11.
Yeah, for sure.
But there is actually a clip from one of the Warhammer animations which absolutely proves that you don't need your super soldier to take off his helmet to feel emotion. I'm just putting it in the thing now. Uh, it's only like a minute clip, but it's the death of Brother Ignis.
I will take a look. I mean, as much as like even like you brought up Star Wars, and like it's funny that you did because like the Star Wars show, the main one that everyone actually likes, The Mandalorian. I have my misgivings with that show. I don't think it's particularly good, but I also think that there's a lot that is genuinely good about it, and one of the things is the fact that they show a lot of emotion with the main character who's always in a helmet.
But the clip that I've just sent you, like
He's so tone deaf to say that about
yeah.
it. Yeah, it seems very tone deaf.
So, just quickly for listeners, things that we show each other in this, I'll put in the description so you can have a look. But the clip that I just sent you, it proves it. I don't normally get like teary-eyed or anything from shows and stuff. But this is that clip is the closest I've ever gotten to being teary-eyed at the death of a character, and the character was in it for like an episode. And for the record, I'm talking about the big boxy fellow with the chain gun for a hand.
Yeah, I can see why. It's actually, funnily enough, like on the topic of like of the final scene of the final shape. Like Amber and I played that together like on the day that it came out, and I was very much in tears for that. Like that was a lot of emotion for me.
Mm.
I don't know
But
if it would have been tears if it had been if it hadn't been a game that I've been involved with as long as I have with
mm,
Destiny, but I think either way, like, I was still fucking crying,
mm.
like, it's a really potent moment.
Well, again, I think the reason why that Angels of Death clip got close to me is because I know what the reality of like being those characters are because they're the Astartes. And like, put it this way, because again, Warhammer 40K, it's a universe where if they landed in the Stars universe and Palpatine was like, "This is my Death Star, it has a laser that can destroy a planet in a single shot," they'd go, "Great, where's the rest of them?"
You'd have to ask, Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker about, if you want more of them,
Mm.
unfortunately.
But yeah, but anyway, so that in terms of like that clip, the reason why is because like being an Astarte is like it's not something you should ever aspire to be. It's not that kind of glorified. It is designed to appeal to that sort of 80s angsty teen of like diving feet first into hell to face danger for a noble cause, usually.
Unfortunately, a lot of people from that generation have were seemingly sucked in by that aspect of it decades ago,
Mm,
and have been just transformed into fundamentally warped people as a result.
mm. But but like the reality of becoming a space marine in 40K is that you will undergo stupidly grueling trials, be implanted with up to between 19 and 21 additional organs.
Between 19 and 21?
Well, because there's two breeds of Space Marine now.
Uh,
Yeah. Um, the Firstborn and the Primaris, and the Primaris have an additional 3 organs. But it's a process where only one out of every 1,000 candidates survives. And then when you do survive, you will be sent off to fight the horrors of the galaxy until you die. And partly because Space Marines are functionally immortal, and they also have the thing of only in death does duty end, which is why you get the dreadnoughts. Because that's not a mech, it's like a battle sarcophagus. Because the Astartes inside has been so grievously wounded that he can't fight as he normally would, so they put him in that. So yeah, not a pleasant life.
yeah, I think yeah.
But again,
For
yeah,
me, 40K has always just been, like, too stupidly dark for me to really have much interest in it.
I mean, yeah. To be fair, it isn't for everybody. Again, it mainly just because it is such a vast, like, and very deep universe in terms of its lore. It's like,
It's just such a completely hopeless and pitiless universe that I just cannot find myself having any kind of interest in it.
mm, well,
Dark doesn't mean a whole lot without light.
well, this one's
It's
grim
just
dark, but
kind well, yeah, it's just
mm,
darkness for the sake of darkness.
but that's why I play the Salamanders chapter because they're like the one wholesome bit in all of the Space Marines. Because the Salamanders, they are the one chapter that doesn't like civilian casualties. But they're also like the Space Marines that will arrive on a planet and they could burn the city to the city enemy cities and encampments and stuff to the ground, but they then will help the children find their teddy bears afterwards. And that's not even like an exaggeration. There's even a story in one of them where a salamander literally leaps across lava to save a child. So yeah, wholesome of sorts. Never mind the pyromania, but
What's a little bit of arson between friends.
I mean, the salamander's favorite weapon is the flamethrower. Yeah, but again, to get onto another topic, I found a drink which as you know, seemingly in these content, I like to try. I like to open up wacky drinks. Go and check out, I think, Stardew episode 3 for the most unhinged one.
Oh my god. Just for the optimum fucking crunch upon it opening.
Well, did you actually see that short that I made?
I don't think I have.
Oh, well, I'll send it to you right now, and this would be great to get your reaction to it live because it's it's a drink that technically it's at that you aren't allowed to advertise.
What? What?
Yeah,
Why?
it's got a banned advertising slogan. So I'm just gonna send you it's a YouTube short, so it's nice and quick. And yes, it is an actual energy drink.
That's oh my god! The immediate where did you get that followed by I need one is fucking phenomenal.
So I haven't got one quite as extreme as that for today. And I've got another funny story about that drink a bit later.
That's incredible. Thank you, Phil.
But the one I've got here is a limited edition Coca-Cola. 0 sugar, but it's Oreo themed?
What?
Oreo? Yeah. And I'm like, how do you do that? Yeah. And I've not got high hopes because the last limited edition one they did, it was like themed off of like some sort of marshmallow character or whatever. And so I thought it might taste like a bit like marshmallow. It might be interesting, but it was just Coke in a branded can. So here we go.
Right. Very crispy. Thank you, Phil.
But yeah, but there's actually another story about that energy drink that you probably can't actually say in a recording. Is I went back to the shop I got it from another time just to get some different ones, and I noticed they'd stopped carrying that drink, and I very nearly, and I only didn't hit the send button because I got distracted by something else. I think someone else had texted me at the same time, but I very nearly texted Ratty, bad news. I can't get pussy anymore.
That's fucking crazy, actually. That's fucking incredibly unhinged. Holy shit.
Which, out of context, is funny.
Yeah.
But with context, the fact that it was the energy drink. Anyway, let's try this Oreo Coke. Here's my conclusion. Tastes like Coke.
Great. That's awesome. Great marketing, guys.
With like a hint of cookie in it. It's weird.
I've never actually had a Coke, so
You've never had Coca-Cola?
No. It's I mean, when I was a kid, my parents didn't want me to drink it, and
No, fair enough.
I just kind of followed that advice, you know. I don't know.
So well, I can't remember. Do you? Well, actually, there's a thing. Is we never did the drink talk like we originally planned when we were doing 2 climates because.
Oh, we're not doing that right now. I've not got the wherewithal to do a drink talk. I'm sorry.
Oh well, supplemental then some other time. But yeah, we still actually need to finish that 2 climate series one day because that was a surprisingly funny,
weird fucking game.
Well, it was again unexpectedly funny. I think
I mean, the controls were pretty awful, but like the platforming was not great. I mean, to be fair, like its competition is Celeste, but like I feel like they could have tried a little bit harder than that.
I feel like it's also because I'm not very good at platformers, which didn't help. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I am pretty good at platformers, or more specifically Celeste, the exact type of platformer that that game is, and I can tell you it was very hard to play simply because it just doesn't control very well at all.
I have a feeling though, if we really wanted to test the bonds of our friendship, we would either play Bread and Fred or Chain Together.
If we really wanted to test the bonds of our friendship, Phil, we would play Uno as all true friends must one day.
Oh no. Yeah, that would be the things though, is that would go on for so long that uh I would just
I mean,
upload like however long.
the longer that Uno goes on for, the funnier it is. That's
Yeah,
the
but I
general
wouldn't
rule.
be editing that down. Like I would probably just title it uh we played Uno. No, I won't edit this. Go fuck yourself. 6-hour video.
That's wonderful. I would watch that. That sounds great, honestly.
Well, there was actually sadly the company that did it have gone, but there were some people that played Uno for 37 hours.
Oh my god.
Here's the thing though. It wasn't the console game.
I think the longest will break your friendship type game that I've ever played was a Monopoly game that went on for 10.5 hours.
Oh god. I
It was a
always
very fierce competition near the end where one person couldn't play at all, and the other two people, it was essentially just a mutually assured destruction race.
well, I always thought actually speaking of Monopoly, like you know how they sometimes do variants. Like I remember there was one variant where you had a credit card and stuff.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if there was a variant of Monopoly, but it had all like the financial crimes as well?
To just commit identity theft in Monopoly? That's awesome.
But
Oh
like
my
you
god,
know,
speaking of identity theft, okay, hold on, I have to tell the story.
like tax dodging and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, hold on, I have to tell this story though, hold on. So, speaking of identity theft, and I know that's a crazy way of starting a conversation, but bear with me. Um, so, this Pathfinder game that I'm playing in, right? The game's called Hell's Rebels, and my character Alexa is an oracle, specifically of the with the psychic searcher archetype, which gives her some some psychic information gathering abilities, that sort of thing. And one of her abilities is this one of the revelations, which is like the main class feature from a mystery, is called assumed form. And what assumed form allows me to do is just cast disguise self pretty much whenever I want, forever. Um, so eventually it's going to get even better, and it won't be an illusion. Like my character will actually be able to physically transform into anyone at any time. Um, and we were just talking in like the group chat, like out of session, like in that game at one point. Let me see if I can find it. We were talking about let's see. So we were talking about clerics, and somebody went, "Sorry, clerics, your god won't protect me. Won't protect you from breaking your jaw." To which because like he's playing our the brawler of the party who punches people. To which I added and wrote, "God cannot protect you from identity theft," said Alexa, transforming into an identical copy of the person to whom she is speaking.
Sounds like an actually a great advert for two-factor authentication.
God cannot protect you from identity theft. That would be fucking incredible. Oh my god.
Well, to be honest,
Actually,
I
that would
always
be
thought
really funny.
a great one for identity theft, or like even just like a parody of those adverts. It would go like this: Identity theft is on the rise. Who am I?
Identity theft is on the rise. Fucking, and they blur the face of the person speaking or something like that. That'd be fucking hilarious.
But I also
My identity, it has been stolen.
have you ever seen heard of a I think I can't remember what brand of tea it was, but there was a brand of tea over here. I think it was called Yorkshire Tea, and their slogan at one point was "No nonsense." And I thought of the best advert for it. So picture it. It's that typical Bond scene with like the Bond villain stroking a cat in the big swivel chair.
Yeah,
And
alright.
it starts with, back, and it turns around and he goes, "So, Mr. Bond, we meet at because," and he gets cut off because Bond then just shoots him several times in the chest and kills him. And then
Yeah.
wait, Bond then puts the gun down, picks up a cup of tea and goes, "There we are, sorted." And then it just goes, "Yorkshire tea, no nonsense."
That would actually be fucking hilarious. That would actually be fucking hilarious.
Mm. Yeah. Speaking of ideas and stuff, so the forklift incident when we did Halo Reach.
Oh my god, the fucking forklift incident. That's still, like, my favorite video that you've ever made just because of how much of me there is going, like, just seemingly losing my fucking mind.
Well, here's a thing I did because
Like, gotta love Ori scenes of Ori where losing her fucking mind.
Well, so did I ever tell you that? And this is what gonna make me sound like really dorky now. But at one point when I was like 12, my hobby was making stop motion animation, and I recently discovered that there is a Halo Mega Block set with a forklift in it.
Oh no.
Can you see where this is going?
Yeah, I think I can see where it's going.
I'm gonna recreate that, but animate it.
That's insane, and I love that for you.
Be hilarious. It will be.
I mean, it'll also be fucking unhinged,
Yeah, it
but
would,
it'll
but
be funny.
that's just kind of our thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, it is. I can't actually recall, did we ever finish Legendary Halo Reach?
No, we didn't.
I suppose we just add that to the fucking list.
Oh, dude, I've got such a list of things I want to do. Some of it the reason why it's got so big is because I just simply don't have the means to. Because
Yeah,
Hardware
that's fair.
doesn't run stuff or it requires money, and of course unemployed. I mean, at this rate, I feel like that's not going to change unless someone comes along and goes, "Oi, Phil, here, have enough money to set you up for life." Which
Yeah, I
is,
mean, at least you, like, have the psychological capability to pursue work and function at a job. I lack that capability. I will never hold any kind of job.
uh, well, I think it's mainly just because I like to keep busy. I don't like being bored.
I mean, neither do I, but I just don't have, like, I just don't have that, like, within me.
Yeah, I've got tons of ideas for ideas for game series and just regular content and stuff. Yeah. Speaking of which, though, I was actually saying to Reddy at one point that if money was no object for me, my channel would probably very quickly devolve into just me showing off random crap I bought off the internet that I don't know what it does and I don't know why I bought it, but I did.
You did think it would be funny.
Yeah. It's like this sort of, oh yeah, it's a spoon, but it's also a potato peeler.
I don't even want to imagine what that would physically look like. That sounds moderately to severely terrifying, to be completely honest.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things where it's like, who is this for? But then I get,
Why?
yeah.
And why, I think most importantly, why?
It is very much one of those things. I think but yeah, I'll tell you what though. I actually thought of this the other day. If and when, and it will happen eventually, I'm sure, that we ever meet in person,
Yeah.
I think I know what video we should make.
Alright.
Destiny cookbook.
No, I cannot cook. I will burn the fucking building down. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Do not attempt. Do not attempt.
Well, here's the thing. I suppose apparently I can cook, but my confidence in cooking would have you believe otherwise. Because apparently, like every time I do cook something, my parents were always like, "Oh, it's actually really nicely cooked. It's really nice. Can you make it again?" But my confidence with cooking would be the way I would describe it is it would make you think that I could be trying to make cereal, and I get the bowl, and I get the cereal. I pour the cereal into the bowl. I add the milk to the cereal. I put the spoon in the bowl, and it lights on fire.
Just put you put the spoon in the fucking bowl of cereal, and the bowl just catches ablaze?
Yeah, that's like my level of confidence.
That's crazy. Like, genuinely fucking wild, actually.
Although, speaking of cereal, I discovered that Kit Kat do cereal.
They fucking what?
Yeah,
I hate that, actually. I think
so
I
do
hate
I.
that.
Yeah.
Why? What do they gain from this?
Money, apparently.
From fucking who? Who is
From
buying it?
yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of actually.
Wild.
I feel like there's a lot of products in supermarkets where wonder, like, why are they here? No one ever touches them. Who are they for?
I don't yeah, no, I cannot answer that question.
It's just it's again to be a fly on the wall in boardrooms when they're pitched.
Yeah, no, for sure, yeah, that's fucking kind of honestly wild.
But then again, like even like back in time, like some of oldest forms of entertainment, like think about fairground rides, like the roller coaster. What must that meeting have gone like when the guy who invented the first roller coaster pitched it to a board of investors? Like, okay, so picture this, people. We are going to make people pay money, and they're going to get on this mini train that's going to go around in a loop at incredible speeds, where you're then subjected to physics. And then apparently a board of people went, "I love it," and
Yeah,
now we have roller coasters. But again,
there
it's
is
what
something that is done. I mean, yeah.
but again, that's also the reality of going back in time. It's like we never actually look intelligent to like some of the great scientists of the last 1,000 years. Because if you think about all the stuff that we have these days, if you went back to Isaac Newton or Michelangelo and told them, "Oh, we have uh, the sandwich toaster in the future," and what you do is you get the bread, you put the ingredients, and then you put the bread, you put it in the sandwich toaster, you put the lid down, and you wait. And they go, "What does it do?" It's like it toasts the sandwich.
Convenient, like, if you think about it, like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but they'd be going like, "Yeah, but 500 years of science and advancement,
Well, it's not
and
the
you,
only thing that's happened, it's just one of the thing that's happened. If
I'm
anything, it's a sign that things have progressed quite a long way because, like, if people are wasting their time on something insignificant like this, then clearly they don't have much to, clearly they don't have, like, a whole lot to want for, you know? Like, that's the vibe that I would get from that personally.
guess so." But yeah. Actually, speaking of, again, not to go back onto food again. Do you know what I discovered? Under your American laws, by
Oh,
order of
no.
the Supreme Court, the cheese and tomato sandwich doesn't exist. And do you know how I know that?
I'm sorry, the what doesn't exist?
Cheese and tomato sandwich.
What do you mean by that, Phil?
Because the US Supreme Court defined a sandwich as meat between two pieces of bread. The cheese and tomato sandwich doesn't have any meat. Therefore, under the
A
US
very strange thing to define as a
Supreme
sandwich.
Court, the cheese and tomato sandwich is not a sandwich, and therefore, in American law, it does not exist.
Incredible.
Yeah. See, again, these are my revelations. I could make a book of
The Book of Revelations, Phil.
Phil edition.
Yeah.
Filmmaker Book of Revelations.
The long promised Bible Battle Pass.
The Bible Battle Pass. I love
Yeah.
it. But we've been
Yeah,
going.
you haven't heard the Bible too is gonna have a battle pass, Phil. You haven't heard about that?
No, the Bible too is called a new pope.
Oh, right. My bad. My bad.
That is, now is a good place to end. So, yeah. So, thank you for joining me on this, hopefully first of many episodes for some time in the future. And again, like I said, little housekeeping things. Some things are subject to change. There'll be some adjustments and stuff, but
I hope my microphone quality wasn't too terrible. Yeah, unfortunately, our housekeepers did eat my real microphone's cord, so that this is really the best I can do.
But thank you for listening, and we hope you will tune in the next episode, whenever that may be.